everybody, it is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the role model, the first female signed, the baddest bitch on the block of all elite wrestling. And I need you to remember wrestling.
Toni Storm has finally found herself in All Elite Wrestling. After losing the AEW Women's World title in the summer of 2023, she very slowly started to fall backwards through time until she ended up in the 1950s and appeared to completely lose her mind along the way. Now, she's become a golden age Hollywood starlet, and wouldn't you know it, the fans have completely bought in. At the time of recording, she's in the middle of her third reign as AEW Women's Champion. Given that so much of her current personality revolves around holding gold, we thought it'd be fun to take you back in time. Not quite as far as Timeless Toni has gone, just back to 2017, and tell you the story of how she won her first world title and why it was a complete accident. In 2017, Toni Storm was a part of Stardom, the biggest women's promotion in Japan, and she was set to challenge for the company's top prize, the World of Stardom Championship, also nicknamed the Red Belt because, well, it's a red belt. The champion at the time was Mayu Iwatani. She was pretty much the top star in that company, and still is today. If she ever does go to WWE, she will have the same hype that Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky had when they went over. Iwatani had spent much of 2017 as a double champion, holding not only the world belt, but their secondary belt as well, the Wonder of Stardom title, aka the white belt. So at this stage, she was basically Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. Even though Iwatani had lost the white belt by the time this match came around, she was still definitely the top dog in the country, so it was a big deal for Toni Storm to be in this match. After the traditional pre-match pageantry you'd associate with Japanese pro wrestling, photos, streamers, handshakes, that sort of thing, the match began with some standard feeling out between champion and challenger. Then Iwatani went for her first big move, a drop kick to Storm as she sat against the ropes. Toni moved out of the way, and then, as Iwatani landed, this happened. The champion immediately rolls out of the ring, as Toni gets the crowd clapping in anticipation of a dive to the outside, but the referee halts her, so he can take a look at Mayu. Once he sees her though, he immediately calls for the bell, and the match is over after 2 minutes and 20 seconds. What follows are two of the most uncomfortable minutes you'll see in wrestling in a long time. The crowd is completely silent, as they normally are in Japanese wrestling, so there's nothing to hide Iwatani's cries of pain as she's attended to by doctors, referees, and her fellow wrestlers. Meanwhile, spare a thought for poor Toni, who can do nothing but look on. What had been the biggest match of her life to that point, probably intricately planned out beforehand, has now gone completely out the window. Watching this scene reminded me of the immediate aftermath of Owen Hart's botched piledriver on Steve Austin at SummerSlam 97, with Storm in the position of Owen. I can only imagine the panic that was racing through their minds, but the look on their faces gave me a pretty good idea. Also in this case, the language barrier makes it tough for Storm to figure out what's going on, even though some other Western wrestlers are having a word with her from ringside. Finally, after an agonizing wait, the referee announces to the audience that Iwatani has suffered a dislocated elbow. And so, in a way no one planned and no one wanted, Toni Storm is the new World of Stardom champion. As Iwatani is removed from ringside on a stretcher, Storm apologizes to the crowd on the microphone and promises to give Iwatani a rematch once she returns from injury. However, the rest of the post-match rings incredibly hollow, as a whole group of wrestlers try to send the crowd home happy. While their intentions were good, and I know that this is Stardom tradition, it's just too jarring a tone shift from what we just saw, especially given that their top star is being stretchered into an ambulance outside. For a title reign that was not supposed to happen, Storm went on to have an impressive reign with the red belt. She would also be a double champion during this time, with her already holding the SWA championship. A quick side note on this belt, its gimmick is one that I really like, as the champion can only defend it against challengers from a different country than them. At the time of recording, it's been vacant for over a year, but I really hope Stardom don't get rid of it. Storm had already held the SWA belt for 15 months, and she'd keep it for another 6 before losing it to the woman now known as Piper Niven in WWE. By this time, Iwatani had made her comeback, and as promised, the rematch was set up, taking place on April 1st, 2018. After a great back and forth, Storm would win to retain the title. This surprised me a lot, as I thought the belt would just go back to the former champion, but Storm had clearly built up a lot of trust among Stardom officials for her to keep the belt. She eventually lost the red belt of the fearsome Kagetsu in June, just before she went to WWE to compete in and win the Mae Young Classic. So that's the story of Toni Storm's accidental world title reign. I just felt like it was worth talking about, given Storm's current popularity, and I'm surprised it's not a more well-known incident. How often does a major company's top prize change hands when it was absolutely not supposed to, and no one, not even the wrestlers involved, expected it? The biggest takeaway from this story, though, is that we should count our blessings that so many of the big matches we look forward to in wrestling end the way they're supposed to, with no one getting hurt. Because when that doesn't happen, the outcome can be pretty sad. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting the like button, sharing it around, and subscribing to the channel.